the cloud. Good. We're going to start.
Okay.
I hope we don't lose that. Okay, so here's our screen. Sorry. Okay. Come on. I'll just sharing this. I want to share my screen. I'm not sure why it's okay, move that over. Bill, is that you?
No, not me.
Okay. Let's see me share. My goodness. Why is it doing that? Resume share. Okay, there. All right. I think we're recording. Pause recording. Okay. So I'm gonna start. So Bill, thank you today for joining us to share this webinar, and we are going to record it and share it afterwards. And like we said today, as everyone knows, there have been concerns about security, online security, and we have known Bill through networking. He's part of the chamber. So I thought to invite him to enlighten us on what steps we can do to protect ourselves or anything else we can do. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Rachel. This webinar, first of all, is being co-sponsored by Coworker Hub. So my name is Rachel Kaiser. I'll just move on to the next screen. My name is Rachel Kaiser, and I'm General Manager at Coworker Hub. And so what is Coworker Hub is a co-working or shared office space with locations in Middlebury and also Winsted, Connecticut. And you can ignore the the line below, but right now we are talking about actually security for online events and also security, in this era of COVID-19, where we're hearing all kinds of fraud or things like that. So Bill is going to enlighten us what steps to take to protect ourselves and also just ensure that as we do, especially these online events, that they are secure. So Bill, you can take it away if you want to share, because you're a co-host, so feel free if you have anything
Sure.
that you need to share. Yeah.
Let me just get my presentation up. And
sure. Perfect.
Thank you, David and Rachel, for hosting today. We'll be talking about securing yourself in the time of COVID-19. And just in case anybody has any questions or wants to contact, I'll be showing this at the end too. This is how you can reach out to us and also follow us on Facebook. So the agenda is just going to be a brief introduction about B-Squared Intel, and then we will get into scams that are popping up around COVID-19 and talking about Zoom, as they've been making news for not quite the right reasons from the beginning, but they are definitely improving how they are working on the issues that have been discovered. And then I'll briefly describe the services B-Squared Intel offers if anybody has need or want to take advantage of these. And then again, I'll leave my contact information up for people to take a look. So we're based out of Oxford, and I've been in the information security field for almost 8.5 years now. My specialty is open source intelligence. And what that means is I take publicly available information, analyze it, and provide reporting based on the needs of a client. So for business, it could be figuring out other ways a bad actor can get into their organization. Is there any data that's being leaked outside of their four walls that are as critical to how they operate? So that's very important information for a business to understand. And with attorneys, it's providing research for their cases, whether it's due diligence to make sure their own client isn't going to blow up their own case, to looking into the other side to see if there's anything that they can leverage to their advantage. And for us private citizens, it's understanding like what breadcrumbs we're leaving on in our digital footprint that could lead towards identity theft or some other cybersecurity incident, and help them understand and work through those findings so they can be in a better position. And recently we were featured on Fox 61 and Republican American talking about how employees that are working remotely can better secure their data and things that they need to be aware of. So if you want links to that, I'm happy to send those along. So let's dive into scams. I'm not going to cover every single piece here just for the sake of time, but the Federal Trade Commission has issued information for the public to be aware of. So right now we have our stimulus checks coming out. So they're asking us to be aware of any texts, phone calls, and emails pertaining to those checks. And I'll also say by extension, we are still in tax season mode. So be on the lookout for any fake scams pertaining to IRS, whether it's you're getting a refund or you are that you owe money. So the IRS is never going to send you an email asking you about that. So please keep an eye out for that. The FTC is also advising that there are promises for online offers for vaccinations and home testing kits for COVID-19, and phishing emails that the actors are sending out posing as the CDC or WHO. And they're also seeing a rise in fake charities because with all the confusion and chaos, the flood of information that's coming out that people have to sift through, bad actors are taking advantage of the situation and capitalizing on it. So we definitely have to adapt to be aware of what's happening on their side of things so that we can be better protected. The FBI is also echoing those same sentiments, so please be aware of these, and I'll be going through some examples to show you some incidents that are happening. The United States Postal Inspection Service is also giving guidance as to be aware of some other things, from malicious websites to extortion emails, supply scams relating to COVID-19, such as online sales for masks and disinfectant wipes or any item that's in high demand. And then provider scams where the bad actors are posing as doctors, saying that you owe money for COVID-19 testing and treatment. So this is an example of a job scam that was recently received. First thing that you want to understand is anything that's coming to you, whether it's through email, text, or social media, or any other conceivable way you can receive a communication that's unsolicited, scrutinize that communication that you're receiving, because you could end up falling for a scam. So to kind of break this apart, what you're looking at here, kind of the first thing off the top of my head that doesn't seem right is the subject heading of equal possibility. Like, what does that mean? And then always look at the email address that that the sender is using. So you want to make sure that matches up to what you're expecting. So for example, if you're communicating with somebody at Walmart, you're going to expect an email from something at walmart.com. If they're sending it from customer service.walmart@gmail or Yahoo, that's a huge red flag. So one thing that's happening is the scammers and the malicious actors, they're taking advantage of our fear of, for example, job loss. People are losing jobs left and right because businesses are closing down during COVID-19. So the reimbursement amount for what somebody would receive per month if they fell for this would be $3,000. That would help a lot of people, put food on their table and have a roof over their head. However, what I've underlined here in red is the job duties. I'll read it as is and re-explain it. So states you are going to must to receive shipment, repack ones, and forward them to the end obtainer. That is very poor English, and to reread it, what your job duties are is to receive packages, repack them, and send them to the recipient. And more likely than not, if somebody does become embroiled in this scam, they will be receiving stolen goods and or illicit substances and reshipping them to their final destination. And while I'm not a lawyer, I can assume that if somebody does fall for this and they are partaking in this activity, they might see themselves in some legal trouble. So always read through communications that you're receiving to make sure it's legitimate. This is an example of a supply scam, and within the world of social engineering, which is in the cybercrime world, it's pretty much deceiving your victim for one or two reasons. One, to get sensitive information, or to get the person to do something they wouldn't do under normal circumstances. So this email has some tactics built in order to compel somebody to act on purchasing these masks. So the first one would be scarcity. So there's a limited supply. So hurry up and buy it before the inventory runs out. You also have a deep discount of 50% off and free shipping worldwide. This would trigger a person who is an impulse buyer, because now they're this email is showing you that there's a lack of supply and you're also getting an extremely good deal. They're also using the fear of contracting COVID-19 and how it's spreading. So that's adding to fuel to this fire for people that are scared of being infected with COVID-19. Also, they're using these different URLs. So this is not coming directly from SafeBreath Pro. I do not recommend clicking on these links, because this is one of the typical ways malware is loaded onto your device by a malicious link. You will be directed or redirected once you click on a link to something that's controlled by the malicious actor that installs their malicious payload on your device, and then that can steal data, lock your files up, delete and erase files. There's several things that can happen. So you want to make sure that you're protecting your personal data and along with your business data, to make sure that's not falling into the hands of the wrong people. Also, the unsubscribe link, they're using a link shortening service, and that masks the actual link that you'll be going to. So those are some things to be aware of when it comes to a supply scam. And again, for me, emails also kind of sell the story. So this one with the domain name 3hAAA.info, you would expect something to come from the provider itself, but again, it's not matching up with what you would expect. And the last example, another a phishing attempt. This was reported by station WSMV. This is an example of smishing, which is phishing over text. And since a lot of people are now mobile first, meaning that is the first device that they grab when they're looking at email, they're communicating with people over text, you have your social media right there. That's the first thing that they'll probably use before your traditional competing devices, whether it's a laptop or desktop. So to receive this email, which is preying on our fear of being infected, it's stating that you've been in contact with somebody who is tested positive or showing symptoms of COVID-19. And if you are to open up this link, this is where the infection of your device would occur. So, also keep your eyes out for any weird text coming through. And we'll be touching upon that in the next slide. So what can you do? What steps can you take to reduce and prevent things that are happening on whether it's phishing or scams? First off, if you're receiving communications from somebody purporting to be a government agency about your stimulus check or any tax refund, just delete that. And if you do have concerns, go directly to the source. If it's tax related or pertaining to your stimulus check, go right to irs.gov, and that will be your trusted source. Vaccination kits or vaccination and home testing kits, they don't exist. So please be aware of anything promising that. I think we are a while away from having a vaccination, so be astute. We can talk about robocalls for a minute. I know the FTC has issued that robocalls are still going to exist. So you can hang up on robocalls. Even better is to not answer, as the software behind these botnets will recognize a human answered this call. So then it spreads throughout the rest of the botnet that will actually amplify the frequency of robocalls that you'll make. So the advice on that is just don't answer. You can also contact your mobile service provider to see if they have any filters that they can put on your account that can reduce the frequency of these calls. Maybe they have an app that you can install directly onto your device. You can also register any phone numbers you have with the National Do Not Call list. When you are looking for information pertaining to the virus, go directly to trusted sources, whether it be the CDC or the World Health Organization. Those should be the authorities that will give you the updates. There has been reporting since at least beginning in the middle of March. I know that journalist Brian Krebs, who does investigative journalism on cybercrime, he received reports that people are embedding Johns Hopkins COVID-19 tracking map into malicious websites and sending out that information that, hey, here's updates as to what's going on with COVID-19. And that can be enticing for people who want information about how things are spreading, the number infected versus the number of those that have recovered. So please be careful of the information you're consuming about the virus. And when it comes to charities, this is a time for organizations that are helping people in very tough spots. So if you are going to be giving, do your research before you make a donation, because this is a time bad actors are going to set up fake charities. So look online for any reviews about the charity that you want to give. Make sure they're a reputable organization. Are they established? Even check out the Better Business Bureau to see if there's any complaints filed against the charity. So those are some things that you can look at to make sure that your money is going to a worthy cause. When it comes to phishing, I know people have heard this before, and it's definitely worth repeating again. Don't click on links, download attachments, or install applications that are suspicious. These are the common ways that people are infected when they click on a link or download an attachment in a phishing email. So if it's coming from somebody you don't know, just disregard it, flag it as phishing, or if it's an email, and just don't bother engaging with anything. If it's coming through social media or text, just delete the text. If it's coming from somebody that you do know, find an alternate way to contact them to make sure that they're sending what they're supposed to be sending. Otherwise, they can say, I never sent that email. So that will give you a heads up that what you're receiving is actually malicious. Keep your devices and applications up to date. This will plug up any security holes that the vendor has, so that should you accidentally click on a link that happens to take advantage of that one security hole, you protected yourself by keeping your devices up to date. Always verify the web address that you're going to be sent to make sure it's legitimate. And by that, you can, if it's through an email, you can hover your mouse over the link, and you'll be able to typically see where you'll be directed to. Also check for misspelled domain names. This is known as typo squatting, and they can remove letters, change letters to make it look similar to the original domain name. So be aware that people will purposely misspell things to deceive your eyes. And yeah, so these are some of the basic things that you can do to better protect yourself. And the FTC has some resources that you can utilize if you find that you're getting spam and scamming type things. So they have a complaint system that you can work through to file that incident. So you can go to www.ftccomplaintassistant.gov, and they have various sections that you can choose, such as was this a tech support scam? Is this something COVID-19 related? And they'll walk you through the steps on how to work through the reporting process. If you feel that you might be a victim, or for a fact that you are a victim of identity theft, the FTC also has their identitytheft.gov site that will have resources to help walk you through reporting an incident, and resources you can use to better gain control of your identity if it's been stolen. And the FBI has their Internet Crime Complaint Center, ic3.gov. So if you happen to fall victim to identity theft or an extortion attempt, definitely take advantage of that, and they will guide you through the reporting process for filing a criminal complaint. We'll shift gears to talking about Zoom and just some background about the company. They're a video conferencing company that's been around since 2011. As of a few days ago, they've reported that they have a little over 300 million daily users. Prior to the pandemic, they were experiencing 10 million users. So their increase in usership has gone up dramatically. And because of this increase of users, the cracks in their foundation began to show itself. Now, there are some things that they should have done beforehand. They are working towards fixing it. You can't completely fault Zoom, because I don't think even they expected to have this many users at this, in the current state that we're all in right now. So if you are using Zoom, or have, if you're looking for different solutions for video conferencing, and this is mainly geared towards businesses. So you want to first identify what your needs and wants are out of a video conferencing platform. And then once you have your requirements, then you can go start looking for the solution that you want that's going to work best for, for your needs. So the reason why I chose Cisco's WebEx, Microsoft Teams, and GoToMeeting by LogMeIn is based off of Gartner. They're a world-renowned research firm that puts companies through the paces for their offerings, and every so often they'll release their magic quadrants to identify who the leaders, visionaries, challengers, and niche players are. So I'm focusing on the leaders of meeting solutions, which you can see in the quadrant that we have Cisco, Microsoft, and LogMeIn as Zoom's direct competitors. A lot of these platforms, they do offer similar features and functions that are beneficial for meetings, such as there's encryption at some sort of level. There's encryption in transit, so it's data that's moving between you and I right now over this conference, or encryption at rest, which is data that's being stored. So companies are using encryption to make sure that it's difficult for somebody to snoop in on conversations or be able to steal files that are important to yourself or an organization. They typically have role-based access, meaning you'll have the host of the meeting who has the most control over the video conference, and then the least access would be an attendee who has the capability to just join in and watch the presentation. They all have some sort of different controls for meetings, such as locking the room, removing attendees, enabling or disabling screen sharing, file sharing, and any other feature that they offer. So again, do your due diligence when looking for a different platform. Regardless if you're deciding is Zoom for you, or WebEx, Teams, or GoToMeeting, this will help you out. So for me, things started to kind of come on to my fall onto my radar regarding issues pertaining to Zoom, and that started with the FBI's press release to the public about Zoom bombing. And what Zoom bombing is, it's when people find the published meeting information, whether it's on social media or a website where anybody can publicly find it. Then they join these meetings, and that's when they take over the screen sharing function, which will allow them to show very graphic and disturbing videos and images, as well as the ability to say very offensive and hateful things or disturbing things, to the point where they might even be able to shut down the meeting over taking control of the screen sharing function. The next shoe that dropped for me was reporting by Citizen Lab, which is a group that's a part of the University of Toronto, and they wanted to explore any privacy issues and concerns pertaining to Zoom's platform. And some of the findings that kind of fleshed out of their research was starting with Zoom's claim of using end-to-end encryption. So end-to-end encryption means that starting with the presentation on my end all the way to your computer, that traffic is encrypted from at both ends. So when it hits Zoom's infrastructure, it still remains encrypted. What they believe is going on is it's being encrypted at the user end. When it hits their infrastructure, it's decrypted so that they're able to process the data streams. re-encrypted and then sent to you, and once it hits your application, it's then decrypted. So there is a gap in that chain where somebody has the ability to intercept and eavesdrop on traffic. So that's something that they are addressing, and Zoom came out apologizing for using the term end-to-end encryption as opposed to what it's traditionally supposed to mean, which is what I explained. Then there's also the encryption algorithm that they were using, which was EES 128-bit ECB, which means this. So you take a look at this image of a penguin. This is Tux the penguin, mascot for Linux, or any useless trivia that you might want to tuck in the back of your head. What this encryption mode does, it doesn't completely encrypt the data. So while it's encrypted, you can still see an outline of the image of the penguin. So for those that are doing extremely sensitive work using Zoom for this to have conversations about something super sensitive, or being able to share files that are very secretive, this is a type of encryption you really don't want to be using. And then the other concern that was raised is how the web traffic was being routed. And they've discovered that some web traffic, not all, was being routed through servers hosted in China that belong to Zoom. And Citizen Lab, their concern was that China could legally require Zoom to give up the encryption keys to the traffic hitting their China-based servers, which would allow the Chinese government to surveil anybody using Zoom, so they can squash any dissidents against the government. And it's an opportunity for them to eavesdrop on conversations, whether it might be government agencies whose traffic has been routed through the servers in China, or if you're a business that has something that can be revolutionary, and they're talking about the intellectual property and how it's being developed. That's a conversation that you wouldn't want made available to prying eyes and ears. So here's what Zoom has currently done and what's next for them. So they have added a security button on the desktop client, which kind of centralizes some important features, such as being able to lock the meeting, which would prevent anybody from joining, the ability to remove participants, ability to allow screen sharing between participants or host only, what else? Enable or disable chat. So they kind of centralized this. On the mobile application, you're not going to see the security icon, but those settings do exist in the different options for security on the mobile app. On April 18th, they rerouted traffic through different data centers, so that's been pushed out. So if you are a paid customer, what you'll have to do is select the data center that you are geographically located in, and then you can also select other data centers that exist globally that Zoom is using. So you can choose to host your meeting in a different geographic region while avoiding having your traffic rerouted through China. So if you are using a free account, as long as your account is created in a geographic region outside of China, your data is not going to be sent through those servers, so you too are protected. Starting today, April 27th, they are upgrading the encryption on Zoom 5.0 to AES 256-bit GCM, which is a better solution than what they were using, AES 128-bit ECB. They are anticipating to have this completely rolled out to all users by the end of May. So they are, working towards their goal of making their platform more secure, and I think them being open about it is uh, good news, and I hope that they continue to work out the bugs so that they can be at a level where they can uh, have the success that they're looking for. So what can you do about Zoom to make things more secure? Always make sure the application is up to date, as Zoom is fixing any security bugs. They're removing and adding features, re-enabling features. So always understand what's going on. So they have release notes that you can go to on the website to see what what the new changes are. Don't make your meeting details public. That is how Zoom bombing starts. So if you need to contact somebody or to give the meeting information, that's probably the best way to to make sure it's going to the people that are going to be on that meeting. And also to prevent Zoom bombing, make sure that you have host-only sharing for the screen share function. And this last bullet point is pretty much boils down to, if you are doing anything super sensitive that you don't want people to know about, whether it's Zoom or any other platform that you're going to use for video conferencing, make sure you're doing your due diligence to make sure that that solution for you will make things will enable you to have these sensitive meetings. Otherwise, you'll have to find other ways to go about that. So those are some tips for making Zoom more secure. Lastly, just to touch upon some of the services that VSquared Intel offers: consulting and education, whether it's whether you want to set up Zoom, understand some of the settings, to securing your browser, your devices, take that and use it to your advantage to put yourself in a more secure position. Audits and reviews for both businesses and personal use, to make sure that there isn't anything that exists beyond your four walls that can put you at risk for data breach or identity theft. And well, on the topic of identity theft, we do provide identity theft protection services. We have plans for just the individual and family plans, and for the pure research stuff, we do have attorney services for any background information, due diligence, and forensic reporting. So if you need any of those services, you can certainly reach out and contact, email and phone. You can also reach us through our website at bsquaredintel.com, and definitely follow us on Facebook at bsquaredintel. You'll see news and some other fun things to kind of keep you occupied during this very odd time that we're going through. So anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Hi. Great. That was really very informative. Thank you, Bill. Very, very good details. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I do have just maybe a few questions. So I know, and you don't have to go into great detail, but would you know the version that you say they're putting up today? I know you said it will be more secure, but you who has or knows the security details, would you know how it's more secure from the current version?
With the right now, they're fixing the
So,
encryption,
mhm.
and with this update, the algorithm that they're using is more secure than what was discovered, disclosed. So that's a good step in the right direction for those concerned about making sure that their data is protected, whether it's
Right.
going over the wires or if it's just being stored on their cloud service. So
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. That's good. That is, it's more, it puts you a little bit more at ease. Um, I didn't know that, prior to Zoom, even I used to use a lot of WebEx or GoToMeeting for sure. So, when Zoom came, it's like, you're kind of swept up in the whole flood of
right.
everyone using Zoom because, that's what they send you to use. So I also kind of got myself in that, into that that wave of using Zoom, I should say. So it's good to know. In other words, it's true. It's a little bit easier than the others, but it's good to know that they are working on making it more secure. So the other question I had, one of the tips you gave for Zoom, which even I had to change how, I plan for the meetings for Zoom. You say that not to make the meeting details public.
Mm-hmm.
So I started using where people have to actually register. I don't know if that was a new feature or I just not seen it before. But anyway, I saw some other people using it and I think that was good. Do you think that's enough to require people to register? Because behind the scenes, like me as an account holder, you actually will check that off that people need to register so that the meeting information is sent to them after they register. Do you think, in your view, that is enough in this case, as far as not making the information public?
I think as long as you're not um, publishing the meeting ID and the password,
Right.
that that can help
Gotcha.
you out
Yeah.
to make sure that somebody uh, isn't just joining in as an uninvited guest.
Right.
That they can then do what they want if they get control of the screen share function.
Okay.
Um, but if you want to be even more secure, then you would just share the link for get an idea of who wants to join in to the conversation, and
And then share with them.
and share directly with them.
Hmm.
That would be um, the even more secure way to do it.
Okay. Gotcha. um, because I ask because now, guess what? This is a topic that's near and dear to me that because of COVID, guess what? We are now more connected in the world than ever. I myself have actually attended some events in Europe. So that's kind of where I'm coming with this because many times I think as we go forward, we may not know everyone that wants to join, but at least I think, like you said, if we require people to register, it will give some, at least some level of protection,
Mm.
so to say. Okay, so that's good. At least I'm on the right track with that.
Yep.
um, Another question, let's see. So, in your view, for the highly sensitive, the very last part you said, if you have like industry highly sensitive information that you need to have meetings and stuff like that, um, is your recommendation to use some other platform like the GoTos and WebEx and Microsoft? I haven't used Microsoft Team, honestly. I've mostly used the other two, but um, are those some of the others you would recommend using, or what would you recommend using for industry sensitive, online meetings?
I would reach out to those vendors. I too have not used Teams,
Hmm.
but I've used WebEx and GoToMeeting before.
Right.
But reach out to them to understand like what they are doing. Talk to their salespeople. Talk to their engineers that will be able to handle more technical questions to ensure that if you have something super sensitive that you can safely have that conversation using their platform. There
Okay.
are applications that are encrypted messaging apps. So you have
Hmm.
WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook,
Right.
and you have Signal, which is an independent organization, Open Whispers, is their nonprofit. So
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp actually uses Signal's platform to encrypt things.
Okay.
So those you can use for for encrypted phone calls or video chat. The only thing with video chat, you don't have screen sharing functions, and they're not designed um, for video conferencing, so you can't have multiple people on that call. I know
Yeah.
WhatsApp made an update where I think it's up to 4 people in a group video
Yeah.
chat, but again, uh, you know, the advice would be make sure that these solutions meet your needs, and find out through them if they are able to make
Available.
fulfill
Mhm.
what you're wanting.
Okay. I do know WhatsApp. They created a WhatsApp for business version. So it would be great if the original WhatsApp is encrypted. My guess is, again, I don't know. My guess is the WhatsApp for business maybe it would even be have more encryption probably. But that's good to know.
Mhm.
I do use WhatsApp for sure, especially I think many people that call people from outside either the country or long distance calls or things like that use WhatsApp. So that's good to know. All right. Dave, did you have any other question?
Yeah, first of all, Bill, thank you so much for this presentation. Every time I listen to your presentations, I learn something new, and mostly it's common sense. Looking at the email address that somebody may have sent you, uh, you don't often think about that. I mean, I've received a few of them through my other um, endeavor with real estate, supposedly from my broker, and you look back at the email address and it's not him sending it. But interesting stuff you presented, like some of the gouging that's going on online. Is it true that Amazon and eBay and those types of companies are cleaning themselves up and blocking people from putting exorbitant price things on there?
So I have seen reporting. I can't identify a source, but uh, it's been reported in major outlets of people attempting to go back to the grocery store with their 40 packages of toilet paper and paper towels, and they're being denied a cash refund or any sort of store credit. eBay and Amazon are cracking down on the selling of these items as they are deemed necessary. Um, so if you have your hoard that you are trying to offload on those 2 platforms, then they are looking for those items and shutting down those accounts so that people
Mhm.
can't profit off of jacking
Yeah.
up those prices.
Mm,
A
wow.
friend of mine ordered, as this thing started, some toilet paper, I think on Amazon, and it finally came in. It had like a 2-inch carton hole in the middle, 3-inch carton hole, and only about a half an inch of toilet paper on it. He was
Yeah.
kind of upset, but he posted it on Facebook. It was it's funny, but it's a shame. People are trying to, scam folks like that.
Yeah.
No, the websites that you shared that you can call if you think you've been scammed are great. We're obviously probably going to repost this as Rachel said she's recording it. And I think Rachel has a way to put your um,
His
slideshow
information.
out there,
Mhm.
send it to people, which is great.
Yeah.
Um,
It will
there's
be, Dave, it will be part of, because we've recorded this, it will be part of, what is it? It will be part of this recording.
recording,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if Bill, you wanted to also, share. I'm not saying you should, I'm just saying if you wanted to share the slideshow, certainly, but it will be also in this recording so people can get that info.
I can certainly send you the slide deck if you want to
Okay,
have it on
perfect.
hand.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because we're going to share it, actually we're sharing the link to this recording and also your slide deck. If if you send it, that would be great.
Well, thank
There
you.
was one thing, Bill. I don't know if you have any comments on it, but I'm kind of concerned when folks go to renew their licenses,
Mhm.
they mail it to you now. If you have things like your birth date on Facebook or other platforms, there could be people camping out at your mailbox waiting for that to come in.
Right.
I didn't get mine personally, so I got to get a duplicate, but that's in the back of my mind. You know, I mean, you have people going through neighborhoods, going through cars, looking for all kinds of information in the cars. They're not stealing things from the cars, but they're looking for your, your registration or, your insurance. It's a crazy world.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So yeah, be aware of what you're posting on social media too, such as your birth date, where you live, anything that's identifying that can, for example, one that was recently going around was the share your the high school that you went to, the year that you graduated, your senior year, and that allows somebody to find out, oh, hey, this could be the answer to one of their security questions or
Right.
a way to figure out their password. So there's a lot of stuff out, like what is your favorite whatever. And while it's fun and entertaining to be social and learn something new about somebody, there's also the other side of that, since we're making these things public, that they are potential risks to security, even though they're very innocuous looking.
Right. In fact, Bill, how I came to come up with this is I, for some reason, started getting, even on LinkedIn, that you think that is very well, people are saying, oh, send this, I'll, file for you. And then even emails with check information. And I was like, okay, I think, and I don't think I'm the only one getting this. I think there's coming out there, and there's certainly people that may not think about it, because for me, I started really doing the reply to see where that email is coming from. When I was getting all kinds of weird emails, supposedly from Amazon, telling you this information has changed, now you have to change your password and stuff. I was like, that is, unusual. And that's where, I kind of started trying to see that, who is this coming from? And when you click reply to see the email, oh my goodness, it's all kinds of crazy numbers and letters, and not from Amazon, certainly. So I was like, oh wow, okay. So that's why I was like, I think it would be good. Um, we reached out to you if you could give at least some tips for that, especially in this era, because there's so much going on. Everyone is kind of on on eggshells. Yeah. So this was great. Thank you so much, Bill. We appreciate your tips, and we certainly will share this information and your information also, should anyone want to reach out to you.
And thank you both for hosting, and thank you for the opportunity, and definitely forever who's tuning into this presentation, definitely reach out to Rachel and David to learn more about Coworker Hub and how they can help you, and also join in on their other presentations that they have that they're doing throughout this new normal. So
Right. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Yeah,
Always a
and
pleasure.
also for Bill, actually, anything Intel, we've known Bill, like we said, from the chamber that we both are part of, actually 2 chambers. And so, he does a very good job. So if you have anything security, anything you need to, check out your system for you, Bill is there. You'll see his information in this presentation. So feel free to reach out to him directly. Thanks again, Bill, and have a great day, Bill and David. Bye-bye.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
You too.
Thank you.